Oh, Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. I didn't know everything that being a single mom entailed. Having to figure out how to afford childcare, how to work full-time, how to, just balance life.
We met. A year later, I proposed to him. And then a month after that, he enlisted in the military. And then 2 weeks after that, we bought the house. And then we found out we were pregnant. And it was like bam, 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 bam. And it didn't stop.
Yeah, it still hasn't stopped.
Bubblegum in a dish. How many pieces?
I have 3 kids. They're all under the age of 8. So I work 3 jobs just to make ends meet.
Experts say energy bills shouldn't exceed 6% of income.
Okay, you guys ready?
Most Americans spend 3.5%, but for many, that number is more like 20 to 50%.
It's due on the 3rd.
Approximately 30% of our income go towards our energy bill.
Inefficient heating and cooling, lack of weatherization, and older appliances add to the burden.
In 20 days, I'll be out of a job.
I'm scared of how we're going to support a family of 4. This is a new one.
I would say rent, utilities, and food.
Well, I think the 4th expense would be kids.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Towards the end of my pregnancy, I lost my job, so I had no income. So I'm in an energy assistance program.
There you go.
It's still hard to afford, but it's made it a lot more affordable than if I wasn't in the program.
Ready to go outside, Bodhi? My biggest fear when it comes to getting our energy bill that might be outrageous is how will we be able to afford it? We just have to take money maybe out of groceries and then allocate that towards our bills.
Being in a basement-style apartment, I found out that the insulation here isn't that great, so I'll put towels up against the windows and under the doors just to make sure it stays insulated in here.
Thank you, Daddy.
There's days it's colder inside than it is outside.
Big kisses.
The success that everybody around you has, you want that too, but the struggle is real. Like, we have it hard.
This year, Nest is launching a 5-year commitment to lighten the energy burden. By working with partners to make 1 million energy and money-saving smart thermostats available to homes in need, and every new Habitat for Humanity home built in the U.S. this year. And by raising awareness, matching donations, and providing relief. So that every family can have light in the dark and heat in the cold. Learn about the energy burden in your neighborhood at nest.com/powerproject.
Hello and welcome to this week's Tech Talk. Take a different view this week. We're going to talk about technology, of course, because that's the Tech Talk show. But we're going to relate it to auctions. Now, all technology has got its limitations. Even driverless cars need drivers. Autopilots, autopilots in cars, in planes, well, they can fly the plane, but it still requires a pilot to occupy the cockpit. My question is, will technology and online bidding replace the auctioneer? What a great question to ask our guest, James Bell from the Auction Group. Hello, James.
How are you, Kevin?
Are you feeling redundant because online bidding might replace you? Do you ever see the day when, the auctioneer's not there and the bidding's just quite static on the screen?
Oh, look, there's always talk about automation and software replacing the humans. I think the appropriate moving forward, I think, is a combination of both, really good tech and really good humans. So look, I can't see it replacing, the experience that is given, and that I suppose goes from the whole of our industry. But if I'm speaking selfishly with the auction side of things, certainly, from my point of view, I can't ever see a day where the auctioneer does not have a role in the process of the sale.
Yeah, Justin Nickerson, of course, conducted a brilliant auction at Rise only a matter of a few weeks ago in Christchurch, and we were all there to see that. And the way he engaged with that audience, even though Gavel were there and were recording it all, so, which is what they do and they do very well,
They do.
the atmosphere was unbelievable, wasn't it? I just wonder if you'd get the same atmosphere if there were no bidders in the room, if it was all being done, online.
Oh, look, I think as an auctioneer, Kevin, if I had an on-site auction and there were 5 bidders and 5 were there versus an on-site auction with 4 bidding via a tech platform and 1, on site, fundamentally it's going to be a lot different. I think the role of the auctioneer has changed so much over the years, and one of the things that I sort of take pride on in my auctioneering is reading buyer behaviour. So from my point of view, the tech is great in a transparency point of view. But I think from an auctioneer, we'd like to be able to see, buyer behaviour, the way they're acting on the day in order to be able to pull levers, i.e., tweak on their emotions to make sure we're there to get that top price. And I'm just, look, as I said, great for transparency technology and being able to view it, but in terms of getting that final result, I think much better auctioneer live crowd. But it does it does have its place, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think you've got to keep everything in perspective, don't you? I mean, Mark Frater is our guest on Real Estate Uncut all this week, and he's famous for saying you can't shake hands with an iPad. And that's all about, getting belly to belly. I mean, you can communicate, on a electronic device, but you can't be getting belly to belly. And the same would apply with auctions, I guess. They have their place, don't they, online bidding?
Yeah, look, they do. I mean, circumstances where, I conducted an auction just before Easter, it was a high level price property, and 2 of the bidders were from Singapore. Now they were on the phone, rather than being able to view the auction live. So I think from their point of view, as a buyer and a bidder in that situation, geez, it would have been ideal for them to be able to view the auction in real time and live stream. So you're right, that auction that we conducted in Rise over in Christchurch, it certainly had some active bidders who were on the Gavel platform bidding away, trying to secure some of those offerings. Yeah,
because technology has changed how we do auctions. You've only got to think of the days when we used to record all the bids. Remember, so there was a penciler there beside you recording all the bids. And now it's really just a matter. I know when I started doing auctions, it was all very brand new to be able to record it, with audio. But
correct.
Now with iPhones, it's just so easy. Just set it up and away you go, and you've got a record of the whole room.
Yeah.
What about things like bidder registration? Are you aware of that happening online anywhere? Or are we still turning up to do a manual registration?
Look, a lot of the agents, it's still a manual process, Kevin. I've seen a bit of a shift in the last 12 months where a lot of agents try to be really proactive in terms of registration, and they try and get their bidders registered prior to the day.
Electronically?
Well, electronically, or having them come into the office and sit down and have a meeting with them about their strategy on the day. Obviously I think that's ideal, because from my point of view as an auctioneer, if the agent's able to give me some intel as to what's happening with these buyers, why they've chosen it, what have they missed out on and things like that. It's really good intel for buyer behaviour and how I act as an auctioneer back to them. But in terms of, I know with Gavel, there's an online registration process that they do have to go through, and that involves uploading of IDs and things like that. So certainly there are platforms out there now that do handle, I'm aware of one that handles booking right through to a highlight clip of the actual auction, and it's all best practice and legislation covered as well. So those sort of platforms, we will start to see them coming into the auction world, without a doubt. But I think what they're going to assist with more than anything is actually the process of the auction, and the streamlining of registrations, being able to get information out to prospective bidders. Going back to your initial question for today is, will it replace the auctioneer? I don't think it'll replace that, but it might do a lot of the heavy lifting for the agents in the lead up to the actual auction day.
very good. I want to go back to a point you made earlier because I think it's quite relevant, and that is the emotion, how you as an auctioneer rely on looking at bidders to read their, I forget what you said, was it their emotions, to read their emotions?
Buyer behaviour.
Buyer behaviour. Tell me
yeah.
what you look for, James.
Oh, look, for me, it's a matter of, in terms of, we common as auctioneers will often be, at say 600 as a level, and we're calling for 650, and a buyer might say 610. Which is obviously a lot lower than the increment that we're asking for. So for me, I'll automatically push back and reject their bid and still seek that $650,000. But I'll be watching their reaction as to how they handle me pushing back on them, and how much of a genuine buyer are they. I mean, if we're fair way off the reserve price and they're trying to drop to 10 already, when really it's still good value at the 50. It's a way for me to determine what sort of a bidder are they, how serious are they. You often get the situations where it's getting towards the end of the auction and you see a husband and wife or whatever the situation may be, and a look between the two of them, it can clearly tell me that there's more in the tank, and the partner that's given the look is just concerned, have you heard that it's the second or third call? So little things like that, which you can't necessarily see on some live streaming platforms, from my point of view. But little things like that where people are going to start the bidding. Are they trying to mix up the bids? If there's a buyer's agent there, obviously they play it a lot differently to your average consumer. But just there's all little intricacies that go on with the actual auction itself, and while you go into it with a perfect plan, sometimes things change during the actual sequence or the bidding, that you pull a couple of different levers based on the way these buyers are reacting with you at the time.
Of course, we're talking on Skype now, which is how we do a lot of our recording because it's very convenient. You can be in different parts of the world and still be talking and recording as we are now. I guess it's only a step away from having your bidders, even on a Skype call, maybe displayed up on the screen so you can read the emotion, you can see, and they can see the crowd as well.
Yeah, look, I think that'd certainly be a big plus, and from an agent or an auctioneer's point of view, and I also think from their point of view, they'd be able to see obviously what's going on. A lot of the platforms that are out there at the moment, they concentrate on the auctioneer's call, and may sometimes miss out on the crowd and actually what's happening. So from their point of view, if they can see what their competition's doing as well, I think that'd be advantageous for the process.
Mate, wonderful talking to you, my friend. James Bell is from the Auction Group, and you can see them at theauctiongroup.com.au. Before I let you go, mate, that painting behind you, what is it?
So that's a painting that Sarah did for me probably some 12 months ago.
Sarah did that, did she?
She did. She's a very talented painter, and it is it's an auctioneer. What I would presume is selling paintings and things like that. So probably more of like a Sotheby's, type auction. Yeah. No, it's really nice.
Of course, we're talking about Sarah Bell,
yes,
from Ayr.
Correct.
Rita's mum.
Rita's mum, yes. I was talking to an office the other day where, Rita's is working in their organisation. And
Rita, by the way, is AI.
Correct, yeah. And I had to introduce myself as Rita's mum's real husband.
Because I was wondering what your relationship was. I know that Sarah calls herself Rita's mum, and so I was wondering what you were. So you're Sarah's mum's husband.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
so
you're Rita's mum's husband.
Yeah. So sometimes Ian Campbell calls me Rita's funkle, no, geez, they're doing some amazing things there as well.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, it is. It's wonderful, and that's something we should catch up with Sarah to talk about that in this show, because that's right at the cutting edge, and getting some great impact too in the States, where Sarah was speaking at the Inman conference earlier this year.
Definitely.
So, mate, all the best for this weekend. 5 auctions calling this weekend.
Yes, 5, mate. 2 up on the sunny coast early on, and then actually 6 this weekend. So, and then down to Brisbane for 4. So I made a big weekend, but really looking forward to it. Looks like some strong numbers for the week.
Let's hope you have some gavel bidding there to keep all things moving along. My friend, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure, Kevin. Thank you.